it's Nimlite, and we're back again with the Not So Berry build challenge that I'm doing. With today's being the gray, sleek, modern for the gray generation. I found a house, a real life house. I used it vaguely for reference, and I kept most of it the same, but I did have some struggles, and we'll get into that. But yeah, what you're seeing is probably my fifth or sixth attempt after bulldozing the lot. This is the first time so far in this build challenge where I just absolutely got frustrated. And it was those stairs. It was the front entrance that just absolutely irritated me. I wanted to do the platform trick, and it just would not let me. And I was probably just not smart enough to do it. I'm gonna have to mess around with that a little bit more because I could not get it to work. But other than the stairs in the front entrance, this build came together pretty quickly, and I think in the end it looked really nice. And this is actually a shape that I want to come back to and do like a Colorado cabin with the overhang and the wood paneling later on. But I had a lot of fun. It's been a long time since I've made a like fake garage, and I forgot. So I was originally going to use movie hangouts, and then I realized there was nothing in that pack. So I switched over to city living, but I did it like well into the interior. And I forgot that there was that fake garage door that I could have just used. But instead, I just made it 10 times harder on myself because why not? But I had a lot of fun. I feel like the gray mixed with the wood tones ended up looking really nice at the end, but right now it looks atrocious. So just pretend not to, just don't look at it too much. But no, this was really fun. I really like that overhanging piece a lot. And I didn't think I would because usually I don't like stacked boxes like that. But I think it makes sense for this build. And I think overall it looks really, really nice when it all comes together. I think so far the only thing I have struggled with in most of these builds is I try to pick like 3, maybe 4 windows to like have that authentic house look, because like no, not one house has just one type of window, and that has been my biggest struggle. That takes me so, like, I cut out so much that you don't see of me just placing windows and like continuously hating on them. While I'm recording this, I'm doing a speed build at the like in between recording this and working on some other stuff, and I'm still placing windows on that build. And it's just such a struggle. And I want to say, this is the easiest time I have had putting columns on a build. I don't know what, like, Sims universe fate that I impressed that day, but the columns just worked. And I have just never felt so happy. I was like, wow, I'm really blessed today. I have working columns. But I just, that wood grain overhang, if it didn't have all the sleek, modern features, that would look so nice as a cabin. Like a cabin feature, like a ski lodge cabin. So I made a little post-it note for myself to like come back and revisit that. Maybe closer to winter, because we're heading towards summer. And I don't think anyone wants to really think about, I don't know if you live in like the Midwest like I do. I don't think anyone wants to think about winter right now. I sure don't. But this build came along really fast. I had a lot of fun. I had no weird little bits that I needed to hide. So there was like, I used no foliage tricks to cover up anything weird. Like this was honestly a lot of fun. I think the only thing I did that I should have waited was I did a bunch of terrain paint when I placed the fencing, and then I ended up having to expand it. And that was a terrible mistake on my part. I learned my lesson. I will not be doing that again. Usually I do like tiny spots of like terrain paint, and then like if I need to move it or fix it, it's super easy to fix. But like I got really, really confident putting that like the tile around to give it like a sleek, like super manicured look, and then putting the terrain paint to make it look realistic. And then I didn't leave enough room for a basketball court because I forgot I was building this for the gray gen and they need to be super athletic. And I was like, well, athletic people play basketball, right? I'm not athletic. But that was, I think that was my biggest regret. And then honestly, just finding stuff to fill that top porch entrance with. That took an ungodly amount of time for some reason. And I don't know why. Like I really don't. I honestly I feel like I may have used one too many trees. I don't know if that's like a normal feeling, but I feel like I think I've talked about this before. What is a reasonable amount of trees? Because I know growing up, my parents' house, we had a row of pine trees that we used as a fence. That didn't feel like a reasonable amount of trees. And I feel like my concept of like how many trees is normal is like really like out of skew now. I keep looking at houses on Pinterest and Zillow and I'm like, that just doesn't feel like enough trees. I think this is just a me problem. But I think the backyard, even though it doesn't have too much in it, even though I'm not there yet, um, I feel like it's good enough. Like it's perfect. I really think like with Grey Gen, I know I made a silly little doorknob. Um I put it there as a joke. So if you hate it, please remove it. But I thought it was funny. And now that I look back at it, it's not as funny as I thought. I think I was building this really early in the morning. And I've got to stop doing that because I time is an illusion to me. And I don't realize how tired I am until like I'm already halfway through something. And I should have deleted that. But I can't remember what I was saying before. But other than the backyard's like really simplistic. I feel like Grey Gen would be like, even though they're a slob, they would be like a accidental minimalist in regards to like, oh, this is me messing up the fence. In regards to like furnishings and things like that, like materialistic goods, they just wouldn't go abundantly with. And I feel like they would just stick with like things that they're like really passionate about rather than just having a bunch of stuff. Which kind of worked out in my favor because I think on the interior, I ended up using the same painting like 3 times. But I've said this before and I will die on this hill. Base game paintings are lacking in all sense of the word. There's not much variety. And there's only a handful of like black, white, and gray paintings. And that was just an absolute torturous event. So I just went very minimalistic. But I think after I put the whole backyard together, I think the house really started looking like a house. Like it looked real. And oh, this front porch had me going. And I couldn't find it. There's such weird little like nooks. And I really wanted to use those slatted bars. And I don't think I ever realized how bad they just clip through. Unless I was placing them wrong, then I'm gonna be upset because they kind of looked cool in a way. But it could be error user. I I I am not an expert. I am just somebody who just really likes the idea that maybe I know what I'm doing, but I do not. I know nothing. But I think this is where I kind of was like, I think Grey Gen would kind of lean towards like minimalistic because I just feel like all their time's being spent on a court or in a gym, and their house would be very practical but still homey. And so I really went for that. And I really like this concept of having like most of the living quarters, other than the living room and the kitchen, are downstairs. And I thought this would be like a really fun build to maybe put in like somewhere warm. Like, I know we all kind of have like our own opinions on like what worlds are what worlds in real life. And I feel like this would be a really fun, like warm build because I don't know if you live anywhere that gets to like 100 degrees, but the basement is your best friend because all the cold air sinks, and that's like the best place to be. So I kind of like that idea that this is like a really modern. I really went like Midwest modern here. Like that seems really silly, but I've seen some of like the like Las Vegas and like Hollywood modern builds, and this is not it. This looks more. I'm running out of cities, but this looks a lot more Midwest, maybe Southern kind of modern, where it's got the simple windows. It's really light in color, but definitely like a more Southern modern, Midwest modern. But um if you see the lamps, I just wanted to let you know that this bookcase was terrible. Absolutely terrible to place things on. I had such a struggle putting things onto cuz I like the idea of a built-in TV. I just don't think I'm very good at executing it. And that's my own fault. So, I use little placeholders. I usually cut it out, but the fact that I used that ugly blue lamp was kind of funny. So I left it in. Sometimes I do things and I cut them out, and then other times I'm like, this is funny. Someone will eventually get a laugh out of this, like I do, like with the doorbell. But I don't know. I think the way I executed this was pretty interesting. I usually make all my first floors and second floors the same, so this like kind of broke the mold, and I'm kind of really excited to build Plum Generation now. Because I feel like Plum Generation is definitely like a out of the bubble kind of person. So I'm definitely gonna have to like really go out of the box for that one. And I kind of have some ideas already. It's kind of already forming. I haven't started it yet, but we're getting there. But I think we're almost halfway through the challenge already that I kind of accidentally set for myself. And it's been really fun. But honestly, this house had a lot of hallways. Well, it didn't have a lot of hallways. If you're thinking of the yellow generation house, that had a lot of hallways. This had a lot of space that felt like it needed something, even though I was still going for a more minimalistic kind of setting. But there were still some places that just felt like it needed more. And then I was gonna keep the same painting that I gave Gray in the yellow generation house, but none of the other frames actually match that painting. And I have just never felt more bamboozled in life with these color swatches. Sometimes I really think I'm like, yeah, these things match. It's good enough. It's close enough. None of them were even close. they weren't even the same size. So I couldn't even like fake it till I made it. And I was really upset. And then I went for a really, I think the kitchen I really went for something interesting was splitting it into two. Cause I'm not a rich person. So I was thinking like what would rich people do? And I was like, I feel like they would have like a weird, I feel like rich people have really weird kitchen setups. Like not in a weird bad way, but in like a not super convenient way. Like if you've ever been to like a more low end house, the kitchen's really small and everything is right where like within arm's reach. And I feel like a luxury of being rich, and this might sound really silly, is having things that are not convenient. Where like it's spaced weird or it's really far away. I kind of went for it. I was like, because me personally, I keep my coffee pot super close to the sink so it's super easy to fill up. But would a rich person do that? I don't know. I'm not rich. So, and I gave him a bunch of cabinets so that like nothing would be on the counter too much. And then I gave him like the super fancy like under cabinet lighting, which I did that in my apartment with cheap little Amazon purchased lights. So take that, capitalism. In reality, I just don't like the big light in the kitchen. It makes a god awful noise, and I don't know how to fix it. But I went for really, really simple in the kitchen, and then I hung that spice rack up. I was gonna do the button trick again, and it didn't work. I was kind of upset because, but I think that spice rack should be able to hang up. Like it looks like you could like put a command hook and hang it up. Like, tell me if I'm wrong. If anyone else has ever thought that with that spice rack, because I normally put it on the counter, like super close to the like edge. But I don't know. I just really felt like hanging it up. With this upstairs bathroom, I figure since this is where everyone enters the house, and you know, wealthy athletes, important people will be visiting, I really went above and beyond in this bathroom. I wanted it to be like super modern, super like luxurious in a way, even though I didn't have all my bathroom clutter that I normally use. And you want to know what? I almost forgot a toilet again. Again! This is the second build now. I did remember a trash can and a mailbox. Did I remember a mailbox? Somebody tell me if I remember. I'm gonna have to go back on the gallery now. I don't remember if I placed a mailbox, but I almost forgot a toilet in the bathroom because I was so excited about how cute that little like built-in bathtub looked that I just completely ignored the fact that there wasn't there wasn't a toilet for good like I know it looks like I put it immediately in from your end, but no, this was something that I almost had to go back and do for a second build. But I think it came out pretty nice. I might have put too many paintings in the bathroom. Which that's another question. Is there too many paintings in a bathroom? Like I feel like bathrooms and like grandma kitchens have so much stuff on the walls. And like I don't know. I want that in my house. Like I like grandma aesthetic. Like I will die on that hill. I like the grandma aesthetic. And no one can tell me differently. Now, I promise, this is the last build in this little challenge that's gonna have an in-home gym. I'm so tired of building in-home gyms now. And I'm sure you're all very tired of watching the in-home gyms. Oh, and this is me. I pulled up the basketball. And I forgot to put one on the court. I know they get one out, but that seems like a really important detail to miss. And I almost forgot it. But, and I was really upset. I forgot that, like, the super nice, slobby clothes piles didn't come until after City Living. I thought it was in City Living, and it's not. And I was kind of upset about it because, like, I like adding that detail when I'm building for Grey Gen, especially. And I thought it was in there, and it's not. So I use like the kid ones. So if you have the pack, I can't even remember what pack. I thought there was one before high school years, but I might be wrong. But if you have the better clothes piles, please, please by all means, change that out. It's pink and purple, and it looks like children's pajamas. But I really wanted to emphasize it, like, this is for the Grey Gen, like, ooh, your cute little slob that, like, gets super buff. They were such horrible clothes piles. But, and then I keep using all the same, like, bathroom wall tile and floor tile. But I feel like in a house, especially like a newer house, that's really common. Now, with older houses, you kind of get just whatever the person decided to put in that bathroom. We used to live with some old roommates, and one of the bathrooms was pink themed, and the other one was blue one. And we used to talk about our pink bathroom all the time, and it was a choice. But then we moved to this apartment, and like we've noticed that like everyone that lives in the apartments has all the same bathroom. And like I visited a new friend, and she was showing me a house that she was buying, and all of her bathrooms look the same. And I was like, oh, this is just like an 80s thing, isn't it? Just to have a blue or pink bathroom. I'm learning so much about architecture and just home interior. But I had a lot of fun making like the purple gen bedroom. I set it up for 3 Sims, maybe 4, 3 or 4. I think I went with 4. And I did this only because in Grey Gen's little blurb of information on the Tumblr, it talks about how family's super important and they like to have food, family night and movie night. And I feel like when family's important, family is big. The family ends up being kind of big. But this is super easy to change and modify to whatever your needs are. And I went big, and I still made it girl themed. And I gotta stop doing that. But I feel like every house is modifiable. You can always extend the house out more and get rid of that little pathway I made and make 2 bedrooms if you had to, because I ended up turning the other room into a playroom. Because I feel like with the bodybuilder and the athlete career, you end up with a lot of money towards the end. And if you're doing this generationally and you're carrying over the wealth, at some point you're gonna have an astronomical amount of money. So I'm trying not to worry too much about the price. And honestly, I'm really bad at money management when it comes to building. So, but we're gonna work on that next. I have a couple more build challenges in mind. I've been making so many post-it notes. My my desk drawer is filled with post-it notes now. But I mentioned before I want to work with more tiny homes and maybe get better money management. And I had a lot of fun. But I think this playroom ended up turning out pretty cute. I'm starting to get a little bit more comfortable with using the wall decals. They feel a bit much sometimes, but I can't get over how cute those little clouds are. Like, if I could have those in real life, there's couple things in real life that I want from The Sims. One is that crescent moon mirror from, I believe, the werewolf pack. Love that. Want that in real life. Found one on Etsy. It's a little pricey for my liking, but I think I'm gonna purchase it. And then I really want those silly little wooden clouds. But I found them before and they're always that really awful hollow wood. I want nice ones. And I know I'm gonna have to find them at like a little market or on Etsy again. But I just can't pay the price for that. But I really want them. But I think once the entire downstairs is done and I filled in like all the little hallways and nooks and crannies that I wanted and see it all at the end, it actually looks nice because while I was building this, I was a mess. I was like, this doesn't look good. None of this is looking great. I went too monotone, but I think in the end, it turns out and it's fine, and I think I panicked for nothing. But this is the Gray Sleek Modern. It is on my gallery. You can download it. I hope you download it, and I hope you enjoy, and I hope everyone who's playing the Not So Berry challenge in the year of 2023 and still loving it has a great time, because this is my favorite challenge, and I'm so happy to be building these houses. But thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe if you want to see more, and Plum Generation will be next. Thank you. Bye.